In 212, the shattered brilliance of the monarchy echoed with a cry as the Constitutio Antoniniana was sealed in the Senate of Rome. This call, rising from the legions standing guard at Rome's borders, reached all free people, including those working in the fields. Everyone was now a Roman citizen. However, this law was less a privilege and more like a heavy wound placed upon the shoulders. The emperor's so-called generosity was a double-edged sword. On one side, the promise of universal citizenship. On the other, rising inflation, taxes, and an expanded list of taxpayers. In Roman legal civilization, citizenship, once held in high esteem, was no longer a privilege, but had turned into a financial trap and a burden. A letter from a peasant preserved in the Oxyrhynchus papyri clearly illustrates this debate. They told us we are now a noble Roman people, but do we truly exist, or is it a lie? They took all my wheat, and did not even give me silk or my special clothing. The military consequences of this radical decree were also felt. A Roman soldier from the fortress of Lambesis in Numidia said, "Now any barbarian or fanatic can wear the same uniform as us if they wish." The historian Cassius Dios also criticized this law, believing that Roman armies now included soldiers who did not even speak the same language. This regulation also shook the social fabric. A tribal leader in northern Gaul filed a property claim in a Roman court. In Anatolia, a Roman slave owner protested that a freed slave had reached the same status as himself. According to the historian Herodian, this process eventually led to the emperor being killed as a result of public pressure. In fact, economic reasons lay behind this decision. The imperial treasury was in crisis. Caracalla reduced the silver content of the Antoninianus coins he minted from 60% to as low as 25%. The remnants of what was called the emperor's generosity became increasingly meaningless, fueling monetary inflation. The killing of the jurist Papinian, who opposed this policy, was one of the most significant symbolic breaking points of the era. This process gradually drove Rome toward collapse. Emperor Caracalla was assassinated in 217. The following half-century became a period of chaos, darkness, and desolation. Generals fought for the throne, money lost its value, border defenses collapsed, and epidemics and death spread. This period is known as the crisis of the 3rd century. Within 49 years, 26 emperors took the throne, most of them quickly killed. Economic collapse also transformed the structure and nature of society. The monetary system broke down, and a barter economy returned. Germanic tribes breached the frontiers and attacked. In 251, Emperor Decius was killed, and later Valerian was captured by the Sasanian king. Rome's title of invincibility and its grandeur were shattered. Meanwhile, one of Rome's symbols, the Colosseum, stood as both an engineering marvel and a monument to violence. During its opening, which lasted 100 days, thousands of animals and people were killed. Gladiators were not only fighters, but also economic investments. A gladiator's value could reach hundreds of thousands of sestertii, or even more. Slavery in Rome was equally widespread. After the destruction of Carthage, tens of thousands of slaves were brought in. During the Gallic campaigns of Julius Caesar, hundreds of thousands of people were enslaved. The slave trade grew so large that in some cities thousands of slaves of all ages were sold daily. This oppressive system occasionally led to revolts. The most famous of these was the rebellion of Spartacus. Beginning in 73 BC, this uprising quickly grew into an army of tens of thousands. However, it was suppressed in 71 BC by Marcus Licinius Crassus, and 6,000 slaves were crucified along Roman roads. All these developments and events reveal the dark and deep realities underlying the grandeur of the Roman Empire. Economic crisis, social inequality, military weakening, and systematic violence leading to chaos.